What's up, YouTube? This is Hector.
This is Drew.
And we're from Not2NerdyEnt Entertainment. Today is our podcast, episode 12, and we're going to be discussing the games that we did walkthroughs for in the past weeks. And that game is going to be Diablo 3, followed by Max Payne 3. And at the end of our podcast, we're going to have a topic that's pretty much debatable. We both think it's debatable, at least. So let's just get right into this. Drew, you did Diablo 3, so let us know about the game. What do you think about the whole thing? What do you like, what do you dislike?
First off the bat, I'm just going to get this out of the way, the bad stuff with the game. You know,
does it have to do with error?
Yes, it has to do with error 37.
Oh, okay. I think I heard of that.
So yeah, my main complaint about the game was that I wasn't able to actually play the game the first day I got it. So, you know, this is probably one of the worst launch a game has ever had, you know. When you can't access a single player game because you have to authenticate to a server and there's server issues because so many people are trying to log into the game and you're unable to play, it's a big problem, you know.
They sell a t-shirt for that, by the way. It's like
it had its own, it was trending on Twitter, it had its own Twitter account. It was pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. It was funny.
Yeah, it was really bad, and I think that's a big problem with this, you know, always online DRM world that we're coming into. Is like when a single player game launches, you can't even play it because so many people are trying to log to the server. It's just ridiculous. I mean, there's ways around it, and I don't expect this from Blizzard. You know, they have the largest MMO user base out there. So
wait, I think they probably heard of that. MMO, right?
Yeah, World of Warcraft.
Oh,
so I think they should know how to run an online, you know, game server. I mean, I just don't get it. Like even, you know, there's even been issues persisting past the first week. You know, people, you know, going into a game, you get dropped because either your internet connection will drop or the server crashes. I don't know what the hell happens, but you'll lose progress because of that. So I mean, that's a big issue with, you know, this type of system. I mean, I know why they had to implement the system because they're doing that real money auction house, and if people were able to play the game offline, they'd be able to, you know, dupe items, you know, hack and all the other stuff like that. And you know, we got real money involved. You know, you don't want to have that type of system. So I understand why they had to make this game always online. But you know, it's just, you know, it's a fault of the game, and it really stops it from, you know, being the perfect game that it could be. But besides that, you know, there's really not much to complain about the game. I think they did a really good job. You know, I've been waiting 12 years for this game, and I think it was well worth the wait. You know, the most important thing I think they did was that the story actually is something you actually care about this time. You know, in past Diablo games, that was kind of, the story was just there. You know, even if you act the most hardcore Diablo player, they'll tell you that they don't even know what the story is about. You know, just, oh, they killed Diablo. And
so
that's pretty much it.
Would you say that this game the main focus was the story now? They had the same, you know, mechanics. They just wanted to tweak the story now.
Yeah, I think it was a great addition to it. I think it was something that, you know, it's not really in your face. Like there's basically like 3 ways that they did the story. The most important thing, of course, being those cutscenes. Those cutscenes are some of the best cutscenes I've ever seen in a game. I'd probably say they are the best. For CGI cutscenes, man, they're amazing. Like every time, like I finish the act, it kind of introduces the next coming act, and it plays a cutscene, and man, I couldn't wait to finish every act just to see one of these cutscenes, man, because they're amazing.
Anytime I see a cutscene from your game, I was looking at it, and it sounds so epic. Like everything was epic, and like they had a voice of wasn't James Earl Jones? Like if you know, do you recognize the voice in the background? Right?
I think
that's James Earl Jones' voice in the game itself. That's why I was saying, like, it just sounded so, when he talked and told the story, it just sounded so epic.
Yeah,
and like
it's definitely epic.
That's the only word you could use.
Yeah, that's the only word you can use for everyone, especially the third one. The third one was crazy, man.
Really?
The third one was crazy. I don't want to spoil it, but the third one is the best one, man. That was awesome. Like, it's just like how it's so crisp. I was like, oh man, you know. The only bad thing is no 1080p. That's really it. I mean, but it was real crisp, man. Even for 720, it's real crisp. But besides that, other ways they have everything's fully voiced, which is nice. You know, there's no just, you know, scrolling through people. Actually, everyone's fully voiced. Actually, your followers talk to you during the game. One of the best things about that is like if you have like I had played as the female monk, and like you would bring the scoundrel along with you, and the scoundrel would be hitting on you the whole entire game. He's like, oh, after this quest, how will we go get a drink? And she's like, no. 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 And then the cool thing is, like, every single class had different dialogue. So like if you played as the male monk, I watched some walkthroughs, he asks kind of the same thing, but he's asking about the male monk's sister. So he's like, so do you have a sister? Or he's like, no. So the monks answered everything, no, and they like get along with the Templars and stuff like that. So it was really cool that they took the time to write unique dialogue for each NPC and even the playable characters as well. And then besides that, another cool thing was all the different audio logs for the lore.
Audio.
So usually like you'll find like lore in this game or a book or something like that, and you have to sit down and read it. Like Skyrim is a perfect example. This one it read it to you, so it was pretty cool. Like the main guy, Deckard Cain, you would find his logs all over the world because he was actually looking in these different places for like these books or whatever. So you would he would tell you about the different monsters you were fighting, and like about the world and stuff like that. And it's like cool backstory to give you. I think the good thing about it is it doesn't get in your way. You continue playing the game and everything's skippable, and so when you're replaying the game, you don't have that issue of you don't want to see this again. You can just skip right through it. Besides that, graphically it looks pretty good. Runs on a wide variety of systems. If you have a really good gaming rig, it's definitely one of those games that makes you proud to be a PC gamer.
I wouldn't know anything about that yet.
But besides. No, you're a computer. Anything good. I see MacBook Airs on Diablo.
Yeah,
so anyone can. It's not gonna look as good, but the good thing is it stays at solid 60 frames per second, and it's amazing for all the stuff they have going on. They got destructible environments, all these different animations, a bunch of stuff on the screen. Like the frame rate stays pretty consistent. There's not much technical issues I found. Besides that, let's get into the the best part is the gameplay. I mean that's why everyone really plays these games. And what they really did with this game is they streamlined everything. I think this is a big trend in the RPG genre where I feel like they're getting rid of a lot of the stuff that you gotta stay in these menus for a long time. Like Diablo 3, I think their aim was to really make this game something where you're just consistently playing. You're not stopping and staying in menus for a long period of time. You can get everything you need to done real quick, and you can get right back into the action.
Yeah, the menus, was it the same as the other Diablos? Like, do you notice?
The main thing that's different with these menus this time is like, for example, one of the things is the inventory management system. In the older games, like your items would actually take up a lot more physical space, whereas every item in this game only takes up 2 slots. So it leaves a lot more space for you to have items. And there's there's not a lot of different things that you have to hold as well either. Like they got rid of identity scrolls, so you just right click on an item and automatically identifies it. They got rid of mana potions. So the way the system works now is that you automatically recharge your mana every time you do a certain action. Like say for the monk, for example, he has a specific mana bar. It's called Spirit. So basically, the way it recharges is like every time you attack, it'll recharge. So the great thing about that is that it's kind of like a risk-reward system. Whereas like if you're low on health and you don't have a potion, you have to kind of fight your way out of it to get your mana potion, your mana bar to fill back up, and then you have like a skill where you can heal yourself, and you can tap that skill. So it's like I love that system where you gotta risk and fight and consistently always fight in order to have your mana bar fill up, and then you have access to more powerful skills.
So, like, would you say that this is a completely different strategy than normal Diablos?
Yeah, I think the main thing is the new skill system. That's really what makes this game a lot more strategic, and also it's a lot different than the older ones, but it still keeps that level of depth that you found in the older games. And so the skill system works. Every level you level up, but this time there's no attribute points or skill trees. So you automatically get your stats increased for your specific class. So if you're like a monk or like a demon hunter, your dexterity is automatically going to increase because these are more like DPS characters. Whereas basically you just get a new skill every level, and that skill is powered up to the max capacity. Mm-hmm. So like in the older games, you would get a new skill and you have to put points into it. And now they have this thing called runes, where each skill once you unlock it. If you already unlock that skill, later on at a specific level, you'll get different, kind of like variations on that skill. And the good thing about that is, like, now there's a lot more variety in terms of, experimenting with different skills. So, you only have 6 skills. You have your left, right mouse button. You have 4 on your hotbar, and you could swap those out. You could do different key bindings.
You could customize.
You can customize it however you desire.
I feel like that's the most important. I think that's a lot of complaints that people have for some games. That they
that you can't customize. Yeah, I stayed with the default, but I did customize other ones. Like I put my potion on 5, and on I have a mouse with the left side button. I put the shift key on there. So if you like playing a ranged character, I hold that down so you stay in place.
Well, because some people have special gaming mouses that has all the buttons on.
All the buttons on the side too, which is nice too.
A lot of people like to customize. They could just do that all in one hand.
Yeah, you just do it with one hand. You could technically do it with one hand if you have one of those mouses.
We're talking about the mouse, sickos. Right? We're talking about the mouse. You click around with one hand.
Whatever you do with the other hand, that's up to you.
Just to clear that up.
I'm just saying, you could play with one hand. It could be your Cheetos or whatever. Whatever. But yeah, besides that, just a lot of smart things they did in the game. And besides that, you get like passive skills that unlock, and you could choose between 3 of those, and that adds a different element. And the great thing about it is like you're always swapping out your skills, trying something new, because you don't have to worry about dumping your points in something that maybe you thought it looked cool, but then you actually use it and it's not useful. And a lot of times like I would use certain skills and at first, then I was like, oh, I don't like this skill. And now I use it later in a different section of the game, and I was like, oh, this is useful here, And that's the great thing about it. You're always swapping out skills, and maybe people would say like the replayability won't be as common because like say people build specific builds for certain types of skills, and now like they're all unlocked, so you can just pick whenever you want. But I kind of actually like that. Like to me, replaying the game is more about getting better loot and higher difficulty rather than trying a specific build. I like that you can customize that character however you want to.
Which is your favorite character?
In order, I actually tweeted this after the beta, but in order it's Demon Hunter. That's why I'm not the Demon Hunter. I'm sorry, the Monk is my favorite. Then the Demon Hunter, then the Wizard, and then the Witch Doctor, and then the Barbarian.
Now, Monk as a female monk.
Either one.
I'm saying, which one did you prefer? Did you use the female monk a lot?
The only reason I use the female monk is because I use the male monk during the beta, but I like both of them. They're both pretty good characters now. And the cool thing is like you always have unique dialogue, so picking a different, it's like playing the game all over again. So I'm definitely gonna get to the point where I'll play all 5 classes and then I'll switch over and pick a different gender because there's different dialogue to each one. So. Yeah, besides that, just all those smart things they do, like in terms of items, now you don't have to, since there's no attribute points, you can equip any item right off the gate as long as you meet the level requirement. There's new systems for crafting. So the way it works is every item, if it's magic item, you can salvage it, and that'll give you different materials so that you can buy new equipment from the blacksmith, the trainer, and you just pay money to get a higher level to train, and then that gives you random loot. So every time you train, you get random loot. And the cool thing is, like, I actually didn't know it, but like, if you level up that skill in one game and then you move to another game, that skill is actually, it stays consistent.
So it stays.
So which is nice. So like, if you're in a game, like you're consistently, once you buy it, you consistently have that in another game, and then you have your stash, which you can put your different items in. So like, say you have another class and you get a class specific item, you could put it in your stash and then grab it for your other character, which is nice. What else they got? There's so many things in this game that they did, man. It's a lot.
It took you a while to play it too.
Because I really want to give it and the good thing about it was that a lot of the reviews came out around the same time, like a week after, because no one had this game, before launch. So everyone was playing at the same time, which is nice.
Well, they're forced to play at the same time.
They could have got it. After the first week, everyone was playing at the same time.
Some people were playing before others.
Some people got the Asians beat it in 12 hours before the game was even released over here, which is pretty interesting. But besides that, you also have like jewel crafting system. So you find like these different gems throughout the world, and you can use that to create better gems, and then those gems you socket into different items, and you get stat boosts for that. And you can also now remove the gems. You couldn't do that before, so you can do whatever you want to put in another item, sell it, now sell that item. And besides that, I mean, basically the features of the game. You know, you can play it 4-player co-op, drop in, drop out. My own major complaint with that is if you're in a 2-player game, for some weird reason you can't kick someone. You have to be able to invite them. So hopefully they patch that up. That really sucks.
It always sucks when you can't kick someone.
Yeah, because most of the games that you're in are actually 2-player games. So I've only came across the problem once. If you watch my walkthrough where someone was AFK, which always sucks because they have to exit out and then go back in. But you know, hopefully they fix that. And they
that's a problem in a lot of games, and that's something they gotta realize to say, okay, look, if this person isn't moving, this person isn't doing it, then
automatically you should. Especially
it should be a time limit. If you're not moving for it, that's what the bottom line should be. It should be a time limit. If you're not moving or anything for 5 minutes, then automatically you're booted. If they don't want someone to kick someone else out, then they should have the computer automatically kick someone out for not moving.
And that's the thing. It's more of a voting system too. So if it's 2 or 3 players, then you can vote. Because it's like, why don't they have that for 2
I understand why a lot of people like that, because it gets annoying. So you can kick someone out, and someone is playing the game and they get kicked out. I understand that. If you want to leave it up to the person, the player, to do it, leave it to the computer. They can do it by time. Calculate the time. If it's 5 minutes, no movement, they're booted automatically, and that's it. And then other players could move on. That's why stuff like that. It's little things in the algorithm that they put in.
The same thing as you shouldn't be kicked out of the game when you lose your internet connection. Right? It's like once you authenticate, then you should be good to go. You know, do all the saves and all that stuff server side when you get the connection back online. I don't understand why they have to kick you out of the game. I mean, that's other online systems work like Steam and stuff like that. It's really retarded. But you know, besides that, you know, once you beat the normal difficulty, it depends how long it takes, depending on how many people you're playing with. Difficulty. It takes like maybe 12 to 20 hours to beat the game, and then you unlock the different difficulties. The hardest one being Inferno. So besides that, you know, the reason for playing on the higher difficulties is to get better loot. And there's more strategic elements.
Play over again, you have to re-level up? Or is it
no. The way it's after the game, you start at like level 30. That's where I'm at, and you start the game from the beginning with more difficult characters, better loot, and you just play through the story again.
I figured because if you're gonna do Inferno, you can't start from a small level. That'd be
I'm not too sure exactly how you cap when you get to certain difficulties. I'm pretty sure 60 you probably should be unlocked in maybe Hell or Inferno, which is like the hardest difficulty. There's also a hardcore mode for all those people out there saying the game is too easy. So once in hardcore, that way that works is if your character dies, you start from the beginning. So it's kind of like those old roguelike games where you know you play through the whole entire thing. If you die, then you gotta start from the beginning. So I would love to see someone beat that game on Inferno.
I mean, they probably can, but I don't know why you want to waste your life doing that, because I'll be pissed off that you're close to being and then you die.
Some people, man, they're masochists like that.
It's too much of a risk, YouTube. I can't even picture myself doing that far and then just dying like that. And, you know, I'm pissed off enough with the games I'm playing now that doesn't even have good checkpoints.
Exactly. You know what I mean? We'll get to that, right? But besides that, you know, there's just smart additions like when you're playing a co-op game in town. There's these little banners you can click on. You can get right into someone's game. Great thing about that is, like, say you're exploring the world and you want to catch up with everyone else. You can just go back to town, which is cool now because you can automatically just go back to town. There's no town scrolls, you know. So if you played other games similar to this, you gotta stack up on potions, mana potions, town portals. You gotta stack on identity scrolls, all this stuff. It gets really annoying after a while. It's nice that you just go back to town, so your items come right back, and then get right back to town. You know, another cool thing is the followers. You have 3 different followers you can choose from, and you just
those followers help you.
Yeah, so they help you throughout the game, and you can equip them with different items too. So that's another thing.
Wait, so you can pick up item and
equip them. They actually have follow specific things too that you can add. Like,
if you add it to them, like you pick up something and you give it to them, can you take it back to them later?
Yeah,
you can.
So it's just like a little. It's probably like most similar to like the kind of the pet system. And Torchlight. It's just not as good actually, because you can't give them your items to sell.
Well, that was my next question. When you're done though, so when you're done describing, that's another question. It's a couple questions.
I really can't wait till that game comes out so I can have that discussion about those 2 games. There's things I like in both and things I don't like in certain.
Finish about Diablo. I got 2 questions for you.
Sure. But besides that, pretty much it's just it's a good game because for years to come you'll be replaying it, trying to get better items, and so forth. And oh yeah, the other thing is that auction house, which is that's the most important thing to talk about. The big controversy with it. The actual real money auction house is not live yet, but the in-game auction house is live, and that's used for in-game currency. So the way that works is now you can use your in-game gold to buy different items, and that's a pretty cool system. That people instead of just selling your rare items to vendors or salvaging it and not getting much out of it, now you can actually put it out there and get some in-game gold. And I imagine it's going to be the same thing for the real money. The major problem with most people with that is that they feel like people are going to be playing to pay to win. They call it. Or people are they're not going to spend the time to play the game, and they're just going to buy the items. But I kind of understand why they did it. It's one of those things where Blizzard kind of had to legitimize it because it was happening anyway. And the bad thing about it is, like in the older games, if you ever played them, you'd be playing co-op, and all these Chinese spammers would come in. Buy this item, buy this item, and they like spam all your games. So like after a while, I just stopped playing cooperatively, and that's the best way to play this game. Because you can't even play with random people. Because every game you start up, you got some guy spamming you to go buy some item. It's annoying as hell. So now they legitimize it. They pretty much got rid of that problem because now people have the market.
It's just funny. So just hearing, oh, buy this.
It stinks, but I could definitely see why people are against it. It's never been done before, and people hate when. You can just go buy some item that someone really, spent the time to get. But hey, people are gonna do it anyway, so at least Blizzard's gonna get a cut. Maybe they use that money to get some expansion packs or upgrades or do something with that money and then, invest more into the game. Hopefully, that's the best case scenario. But, they're a company, so I would imagine this money might be used for that new MMO they're coming out with. That's gonna be their gold mine. But yeah, so. Besides that, I mean, Diablo 2 was one of my favorite games. It is my favorite game, and Diablo 3, I would imagine over time it's gonna hold that spot too, man. It's just that I love co-op games, man, and it hits everything that needs to be hit in those type of games, man.
Yeah. Well, that said, so in other words, obviously he liked Diablo 3. He thinks that it might build up to be as good as Diablo 2. You're saying?
Yeah.
So now, my question to you, first of all, Torchlight 2 is going to be direct competitor pretty much to Diablo 3, and it also has the original people that created Diablo.
Yep.
So this is sort of not as big name as Diablo 3. Everyone knows that. So my question to you is that if more people start playing Torchlight 2, they might because Torchlight 2 is more similar to the first two Diablos than Diablo 3s. So you think that the true Diablo fan, the ones that like the format, I only like Diablo 1 and 2, you think they're going to hop on board with Torchlight?
I definitely think there's going to be two camps. I think there's going to be the camps like me, who are going to play both games and enjoy both games for what they are. And then you're going to have the camps that don't like Diablo 3 because it's not like Diablo 2.
Because now, like you said, they focus on story and
they focus on story and streamlining it. Like some people like to choose what skills to have. Some people like to put points into stuff. And I think that's what Torchlight 2 is going to be there for. I actually like Diablo's their skill system because I feel it's more streamlined compared to Torchlight 2. Even though at the end of the day, they pretty much kind of have the same type of thing going on.
But the one feature, even I'm not used to playing these games or anything like that, but the feature I saw when I was playing Torchlight 2 got me hooked is the pet feature that you send them, they can send them back, you can have them trade, you can do things like, you literally have a pet with you and you can, there's certain things that you can feed the pet will make the pet transform into like a spider, different.
And the great thing, what makes the pet feature better than the follower feature is that when you're playing a co-op game, Diablo 3, you can't have a follower. Whereas in Torchlight 2, you have your pet.
It was me and cousin, a bunch of other people were playing. It was three people, and all of us had that, and all our pets are fighting while we're fighting. So just like a group. At the time, my pet turned into a spider because I gave some spider fish or whatever, and it ate it and it turned into a spider. So that to me seems. I don't know. I sort of like that aspect, that quality. You could do a lot with it, a lot of strategy involved.
And the cool thing about it is it never keeps you out of action as well, because like you can have them sell your items back at town, and actually the new feature is now they can actually buy potions, identity scrolls, all that stuff. So kind of what I was complaining about, like why they took that out, that's kind of their workaround to it. Like your pet can do most of that stuff too, so you can continue to play. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's still kind of annoying that you have to, even though you don't have town portals anymore in Diablo 3, that you still have to go back in town and do all that stuff, and that's rigorous as well. You don't have to do that in Torchlight 2.
So you think I like Torchlight 2 though, that is the fact that it's sort of strategy, because it takes some time before your pet to go back and then come back with it. Yeah. And like in between that time, you're there without a pet, and like you might need it to help you fight or something like that. So it's strategy. You have to know when to do it, when not to do it. So to me, like that has a whole new element of strategy involved in it.
And not to mention, a lot of people who don't like online DRM, that's kind of the answer too, Torchlight 2. Because you can play that game single player, offline, you can play LAN, you can play internet. So they have a lot more features, and also you can they have mod support too. So there's going to be a huge community that's interested in mod support. Where I feel like this is a different thing. I think Torchlight 2 is more open, whereas Diablo is more of a fine linear experience. So that's the major difference I think between the two games.
So I mean, we'll discuss this in more detail when Torchlight 2 comes out and we get to see it. But going back to Diablo 3 now, so far, it's quick answer, yes or no. I mean, you can explain why too. Would Diablo be your vote for Game of the Year?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a high running with Mass Effect 3, but I think at the end of the day, the only thing that's really holding it back is those online issues. Once I actually play the game, it's a lot more replayability than Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 3, I kind of went through the story, I'm kind of done with it. Played a little bit of multiplayer, but this game, like, I'm gonna be playing this game for years.
Well, I knew you were going to say that, and that's why I was also going to debate that real quick. You forget one game that's coming out in October, that it's probably going to beat that, and it's more well known for everyone in every system. What game is that? Assassin's Creed 3. And that's going to be, the name alone, Assassin's Creed 3, and the stuff that it has in it, all that stuff, it already has like fanboys attached to it. Now, on top of fanboys, you're going to have more people, because not everyone, like you said, has a PC that they could sit down and play. You're talking about consoles, and to me, that's what's going to win out in the end. I know that they already gave one to a PC before, which was Skyrim. Skyrim won out, and it was a big PC game, but also
it was on
consoles too. So that's the difference. So when it's a PC-only game, and no matter how great it is, for Game of the Year, you need a lot of people to like it. You need a lot of people to love the game, and the fact is only on PC might be killing it, even though we know PC is the ultimate superior console.
Yeah, and I think of it the same way like StarCraft 2 when that came out that year. Whereas like that's a game like they still play like crazy, and you're gonna be playing that longer than you'll ever play any Assassin's Creed game. But it's kind of like I feel like more story-based games always get Game of the Year, because this is something like the industry. They love more story-based games in terms.
But you already the thing is. It could be all hyped up, Assassin's Creed 3. We know it could be hyped up, but we did see a lot of gameplay and a lot of stuff. And even I was impressed, and the stuff, the technology that they put in the game for it to be the way it is. So if it lives up to what we saw, then I'm sorry to say, Diablo 3 looks really good, but I really don't think it even has a chance, because how mainstream like this other game, Assassin's Creed 3 is. And notice how we're talking about part 3s, just to point that out real quick. But Assassin's Creed 3, like how that is compared to, it's on every console and stuff like that.
And I think the main reason you might be right is the online issues. Because if you look at the Metacritic score, it's like a 4. Based off of user reviews, so I think a lot of people would be upset if Diablo 3 gets Game of the Year, just because of those online issues. And that's
even without the online issues, it would have been debatable. It would have been a better shot. But the online issues,
I think that kind of flows down the bus.
Unless Assassin's Creed has some online issues, it doesn't have online. It's gonna have multiplayer and stuff like that.
But the multiplayer is a nice addition. It's the main focus.
So. But I think that's pretty much it. I mean, now we're going to go to another part 3, because
everything's a 3 this year.
Part 3. But the next game is Max Payne 3. And I actually played. You got a chance to play it too.
Oh yeah, and, we both completed the game.
Yeah. So I'm going to talk about the game. let's just talk about Max Payne. This game, 10 years in the making, almost 10 years, because Max Payne 2 came out in October 2003. So, I mean, look where we are right now. It's almost 10 years in the making in the game.
And it's actually a change in developer, right?
Yeah.
It's not Remedy anymore, it's actually Rockstars actually doing it.
Rockstars are the one that does it. You know how Rockstar is with their games, like all the Rockstar games are pretty much the same third-person shooter. I don't think there's any one Rockstar game that isn't that third-person shooter type game. So it's stuck with that, and that's why I guess it's easy for them to pick up Max Payne, because Max Payne's always been like that as well.
The main difference, of course, being is now it's more of a linear game rather than an open world. Right?
Yes, there is no open world. It's linear, and it's a story-driven, stuff like that. So then we just talk about, we see two different styles of Max Payne in this game. Okay, we see the Max Payne that we all used to love and know, the James Bond. I can compare him to James Bond. He's like a James Bond character, you know. He has that hair, that comb back, slick back, that, you know, sharp-looking guy. The hero is that's Max Payne that we know. Then I can see the other Max Payne that they show in this game. I'm gonna call him
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis. That's what I would say. Bruce Willis.
That's what everyone's gonna call him.
Die Hard.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
That's a perfect analogy.
You know, he has that hangover. He's just like the movie Die Hard. I always talk about that. And he, you know, ex-cop, hangover, addicted to pills.
Drinks like a fish.
Drinks like crazy. Like, that's who they introduced now.
Yeah.
Now, this, the other two Max Payne, like, took place in like it's like a darker film. Took place
in New York.
Yeah, city. You know, it's all about the city. The new Max Payne is Brazil. You know, now it's a whole new attitude. You got like that. It's just crazy the way.
So about that, do you think that even though it's kind of in a setting where it's, you know, tropical, were they able to kind of, you know, that dark, you know, mood that their first two games had? You think they were able to achieve that?
They still achieved it. Surprisingly, even though it's like, as soon as you hear Brazil, you're thinking, okay, it's not going to be able to do, you're thinking like Call of Duty when they're in the Brazil area, and like those little like guys shooting in the corners, stuff like that. Well, it did have some stuff like that, but in reality, they were still able to give it that dark mood that it needed to be a Max Payne 3, you know, to be a Max Payne game.
Yeah.
So they did a great job in that aspect. But the story was, it actually felt, it felt real. Like, the story felt good. It explained a lot of things. I don't want to give away any parts of the story. So I want to talk about the features. I think I'll just let you know, the story is really good. The story takes place years after Max Payne 2. Yeah. You know, so that's an important thing. Like, they take place years after Max Payne 2, and he sort of has flashbacks. So he's sort of right now, at present time, he's that Bruce Willis character, that bald-headed character, but he has flashbacks of what happens after Max Payne 2. So we have a better understanding. Like, pretty much he's alone now. There's no one else that he had. Like, you know, he's like a different person. He's not a cop anymore. It's completely, you get to see the downfall of Max Payne in those flashbacks. But let's talk about the features now, because I think this is, you know, the most important thing in the Max Payne game is bullet time. This game does have bullet time, and it actually takes it to a whole new level. Now when you jump up in the air in slow motion, you can shoot people, you can clear out a whole room in one bullet time use. And if you get a precision shot, it actually slows up the bullet that comes out of the gun, and it'll rotate the camera and show the bullet kill the character. A lot of people just sit there and watch it, but if you actually, as the bullet hits the character in slow motion, you keep shooting, you can actually see slow motion.
The cool thing about that is it doesn't use up ammo, which I love, right?
So I'll keep shooting stuff like that just to see blood splatter everywhere, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's really graphic too. I love it.
It's very graphic, and it's kind of crazy because a game called Sniper just came out, what was it, 2 weeks prior to that game, and that was the game that introduced that technology. I mean, they had a slow motion bullet before, but for them to do the way that Max Payne did it, Sniper sort of did the same, except they did it even more extreme. They showed an X-ray shot of it. But I digress. My point is that was a great addition. Now,
and they also have the actual animation when he dies too.
Yes,
right?
yes. So they have the animation. That's the only thing really got me upset. The way he dies, like it gets it.
He gets it bad, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's annoying the way he dies, stuff like that. But another feature is the way you do bullet time to side. You do bullet time side to side and forward, just like you could back in the day. But now it's a little more balanced.
Yeah.
Or so they say.
Right.
The problem is you still have to watch your surroundings, and this is where the game changes, because in Max Payne 1 and 2, I don't know if, maybe you don't know, you haven't seen Max Payne 2. I don't think you say you didn't play Max Payne 2, right?
No, I played the first one.
First one, right? Now, the difference between that is when he did bullet time, he jumps side to side, the camera sort of panned out, so you can see where you're going.
Yeah.
This game, it's still zoomed in, because they want you to get that experience. You're zoomed in anytime you do the bullet time, so you can shoot people precise with that little dot and aiming them. The problem with this is if you're going side to side, you don't know where you're going into.
Yeah.
And there's been times like this one scene, the rooftop scene, okay, that I kept dying over and over again because I had to use bullet time, but yet the only bullet time that worked was me jumping forward and shooting bullet time.
Yeah.
And when I jumped side to side, I couldn't see.
Helpful.
And there's a couple times that I jumped over the roof, and I'm like, yes, to kill everyone. Next thing I know, I died. I fell off the roof and I died.
Yeah, I think it was, if you knew like there was no one around and like there was the last couple enemies, then you would do it. But I think it was kind of like more of a flashy thing. I don't think that was actually a strategic thing that you could use. Well, because you want to know where you land sometimes, and like you said,
that's why before the other two Max Payne, like bullet time was a necessity. Like you need it. You needed like bullet time, like to clear out a room. This game, it's not exactly like that. You can use it, but there's also the regular third-person shooter elements that they.
Yeah, I mostly used it like a kind of like a cover-based game with a slowdown. Like I'll be behind cover and I'll reload like regularly, and then when I come back up, then I'll put in bullet time to take out enemies. And I found that was a lot more useful than trying to do the shoot dodging that you're talking about.
Because what I'm trying to say is like they let you choose. Do you want to go in Rambo style and just jump and then boom, 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 or do you want to actually strategize, shoot people once in a while? The ones that you can't reach after you kill some people, then you use it to reach someone that's hiding in the corner or something like that. Now, that feature, I like that because it makes a lot more sense. You get to choose. It allows you to have everyone have a different strategy how to beat the game. Because I'm sure your game and my game are probably two completely different ways of how we beat it and how we achieve it. And that always makes the game great when you can do that.
Yeah.
Now, some of the things I do not like is that they change up. Max Payne has always been a tough game. Max Payne has never been an easy game. But now that it seems like you die even easier now.
Yeah.
I'm talking about sometimes a bullet, like it'll be random too, because sometimes you can take 2 bullets. Sometimes just 1 bullet will kill you. And to me, like, it's inconsistent with the way you die. And I just didn't like the way you died in the game. Like, what did you feel about the deaths? Like,
yeah, I felt like a lot of the times it could be fault of my own, but then sometimes it was kind of like, my main thing was kind of like running out of ammo. That happened to me a lot.
This game is unforgiving with ammo. Like, you have to know when to use your ammo, when not to use it, when to save it, which is going to bring me to another
part. The thing with the cutscenes.
The cutscene.
Okay. I'll let you go into that.
What I want to say about cutscenes, first of all, like, it's a big thing about cutscenes, okay? There's a couple cutscenes in the game. One in the club. There's a scene that you're in the club and stuff like that, and you have to go through a door, and you have to pretty much, you have to chase someone, you have to get out of the building, right?
Yeah.
And as you're, trying to go through the door, there's these guys that you just killed on the floor. So naturally, I'm almost out of bullets, so what I do, okay, I'm going to pick up someone else's gun. If a game provides that for you, you're thinking that you're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So I go pick up someone else's gun. He had like a Uzi. I forgot what the Zach weapon was called, but it looked like a Uzi or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool, I have a gun now. Then all of a sudden the cutscene occurs. In the cutscene itself, it shows that I'm holding a handgun. Okay, so I'm like, that makes no sense. So I'm like, whatever, it's just a cutscene, maybe they didn't have time to to put properly do it where whatever you're holding at the time should be in the cutscene as well. Maybe they didn't have enough time to do that, so maybe they just placed it in the hand, whatever. After the cutscene was done and I went into the next room, I had the handgun and my Uzi was nowhere to be found. And even worse, I had the same amount of bullets that I had before, and it just got me so upset.
So all the ammo you picked up before that cutscene, you didn't have it.
All the ammo and the weapons, whatever you pick up before the cutscene, you didn't have. So my point was, why did they allow me to pick it up then? Why would they allow someone to pick up a weapon if you're not allowed to use it? Some games literally have the weapon disappear. To say, oh, the person wasn't holding the weapon or something. Maybe they should have went that way. If they didn't want someone to pick up a weapon, then they should have went that way. Or they should have updated it and let the person hold the weapon that they picked up, in between cutscenes.
Now, about the difficulty, did you play the original Max Payne games on the console, or did you play them on the PC? You played them on the console.
Because I played the PC also.
Yeah, because I played the PC version of the game, and the biggest thing I noticed in terms of difficulty was now you have kind of the lock-on, whereas there is a free aim mode, but the PC was more like a free aim, and I think that's kind of something I had to get used to as well. The whole entire lock-on, it did make some sections easier. For example, there's a sniping section, and all you would do is I'll just lock on, lock out, and it would automatically attach. So that made that really easy. Whereas some other times they, most of these games, you don't lock on to the right person, which was driving nuts.
That's why you have to put it around there and then lock on. It's a lot of games are doing that now. There's another game we'll discuss in another podcast, Ghost Recon. That actually does that now. You put it around. You put and it's also a third-person shooter, by the way. Okay, it seems like all third-person shooters.
They need to have that.
So you pretty much get in the area, you lock on it, it locks onto that character. The reason why third-person shooters are doing this is because they realize that in the third-person view, you can't have accuracy.
You're never gonna get the accuracy in the first-person game.
You just can't. And so that they realize they need to do something to help the person do it quickly. And that's their answer for it. A lot of games are doing it. And I'm sure Spec Ops The Line is doing it too. So when we did the demo, that's another game that's going to do it. All these games have, they're all third-person shooters. That's what they have in common. So now, another point I want to talk about, because obviously we know the whole gun issue. Oh, let me finish the gun issue real quick. Towards the end of the game, which is funny, okay? There were these times in the cutscene where I picked up a gun, right? I did the same thing. I picked up a gun, went into a cutscene, because sometimes you don't know when it's a cutscene, You don't know when it's going to be a cutscene. So I picked up a gun, and I'm like, damn, I went to a cutscene. I'm like, I should have learned from the beginning, because obviously I don't keep the weapon. In that cutscene, I was holding the weapon I just picked up, which to me, I'm like, wait, what? And then after that cutscene was done, I had the weapon I picked up. So to me, in the beginning of the game, they didn't allow you to do that. In the end of the game, they did. So the way I look at it, it's like the difficulty of the level. They're like, okay, well, this part of the game is going to be too easy. They had a Uzi. We're going to make sure he only has a handgun. Or in the vice versa, at the end of the game, this part's going to be hard, so he can have an Uzi if he wants to. To me, it's like, what the heck are they doing designing this game? It made no sense to me.
It was kind of inconsistent.
It makes sense if it's like that throughout the whole game, but you're talking about the beginning and the end are two different things. I can hold a gun in the beginning before a cutscene, and then it disappears. But in the end, I can pick up a gun, hold it before a cutscene, and after the cutscene, I still have that gun. It makes no sense what they're doing to me. So that's something I did not like at all. To me, that's a huge thing, because if you're going to be so stingy with ammo and weapons, that you better allow people to pick up the weapons. And if you allow them to pick up the weapons, you better have them, you better let them have the same weapon after a cutscene. That's just my biggest thing. There's so many things. If you're not going to do it, it's fine. Set the rules at the beginning of the game. Let people know you can't do this, so that at the end of the game, you're consistent.
Yeah, because most games don't do that. Usually you'll have a cutscene and it'll be a pre-rendered one in there. With this one, sometimes they had the weapon in there, sometimes they didn't. Even if you had it was weird. Even sometimes sometimes you hold a shotgun, you have a handgun in the other. Sometimes it'll be in there, sometimes it wasn't. It really didn't make any sense.
It makes no sense. But that's one thing right there. Then on to the next part of the game that I did not like at all, which was the checkpoints. the checkpoints in this game were very inconsistent. There'll be some parts where like I didn't even need a checkpoint. I walked from one corner to another spot, I got a checkpoint. But then there's another spot where I'm fighting enemies, a whole bunch of waves of enemies, the rooftop scene again.
Yeah.
I'm fighting a whole bunch of enemies and stuff like that, and I would get shot and killed. And the next thing I have to go all the way back to the beginning of the rooftop. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, I just spent seriously like 10, 12 minutes reaching to a certain point. I got killed and I still didn't even, that wasn't a checkpoint there?
Yeah.
You know, but yet before that scene, there's a point where I walked from one part of the club to another part of the club and I got a checkpoint.
Yeah, I think what they did good on the checkpoints were a lot of those set piece moments. Like, you know, the one where you're the one that was on the roof and you're like falling off of that the water tower thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they have, if you fail that, then they'll have a checkpoint right before it. So you don't have to actually watch the whole entire thing again. You'll just play that part.
That's like that's more common. Anytime there's a cutscene now, like they realize that people, the biggest pet peeve is for someone to sit through a cutscene twice.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. That has nothing to do with the game. That's just a cutscene. We saw it already. We don't need to sit there again. A lot of developers, designers are catching on to that. They're like, okay, fine, we're gonna not let you see the cutscene twice. You know, boom. But like the fact that the checkpoint system is so random at times that it's very upsetting. And it's funny because the rooftop team, I kept dying over and over and over again. After 40 minutes, I kept dying at the same part. 40 minutes, I finally beat it. And then I finally beat it and I got to like seriously a foot past. Like I always die at the same spot, the same exact spot. I got a foot past that and that's where the checkpoint was. So you mean to tell me every single time I died right in front of the checkpoint and that was it? That's what got me so upset. As soon as I found out the checkpoint, I was so pissed. I stopped playing for a couple hours after that.
I kind of think, like, you know, the PC version had it. I think the console version had it too. Quick save, right? Because that's how I played the older Max Paynes. Like I would play them on a more difficult, you know, on a harder difficulty. But I would, you know, after each enemy, I would save. You know, after each encounter, I would save. Whereas this one is like you would have an encounter after encounter. There wouldn't be a checkpoint after encounter. There would only be a checkpoint after a cutscene, right?
See, the difference is the PC is when it's a quick save, actually what it's called, the quick save.
Yeah.
When you save on a console, it's not as quick to save. Like you literally have to sit there and.
It should be on the back button. It should be on the back button always. Freaking Mass Effect had on the back button, and I never even used it.
No, I'm saying like straight up, if you play on the console, like anytime you save the game, it literally has to go to the load screen and it saves, and it takes a while for it to save the file and stuff like that. That's literally how long it'll take. Even if you have a quick save button, it'll still do that. It'll still have to wait till it saves and then go, which totally defeats the whole purpose of a quick save. And that's the reason why, like, computer is different. Computer can save something as it's running because it puts it on a different RAM. Yeah, that's the thing a console can't do. I understand what they're doing, what they're trying to do, but at the same time, they should still have a save feature. That's what you mean, in the menu screen at least, because...
Yeah, it can be done. If Mass Effect 3 can do it, it can be done.
Yeah, it can be done, but in Mass Effect 3 was not, the save spot wasn't great if you did it for a console. Like,
no, you can quick save anywhere.
Yeah, but it still took time. Though,
it took like maybe 2 seconds.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It takes some time. It's a computer's.
Yeah, it just had the little thing in the corner, like that. You know, I don't mind that. I hate going into menus. That's a problem I have with game playing now. Dragon's Dogma. Start, go up. Yeah, I can't stand that. I wish there was a quick save in every single game. But go ahead.
Pretty much the gameplay though itself for the game it's pretty much a Max Payne. You know, it really is a Max Payne style. They stay true to it. I mean, there's certain things that in the game you pick up, like you have to pick up pills along the way and stuff like that. And
that's something I really liked that they kind of kept from the first two games is the inner monologue of Max Payne 3. I really like that. Like he's one of those characters. Like he's not a goody two shoes. Like he's got issues, and like he says it. Like he'll be picking up pills. Like I'm not the first one to have a pill problem. You know, or so like every time you pick up a pill, he would say something funny. And like just everything he would say was like real clever,
like Bruce Willis, like John McClane. That's who it is. Like to me, that's who the newest Max Payne and Max Payne 3 copied off of. They just looked at John McClane and they're like, oh, that character. Because I remember those Die Hard games back in the day were funny as hell. The ones on the PC, oh my gosh. He used to say some funny comment. Like, that's my favorite movie of all time, first of all the Die Hards. I love it. But, like, it just reminds me of that so much.
You know what I really like about Max Payne as a character? Like, he really, like, he's tough on himself, you know? Like, when he, you know, there's the part where he's, like, in the favela, and he's like, what is it? He's like, a white guy with a funny shirt in the middle of the favela. He's like, what am I doing here with this shirt? You know, he's like, what am I doing with this shirt? He's like, no wonder they're not helping me out. He's like, middle class white guys like me protect the rich and they steal from the poor or something like that. You know what I mean? Then they steal from the poor and stuff like that. He's like, no wonder they hate me. Like, it's so funny. Like, he's just like, everything he says, man, is like really insightful. Yeah. You know, and it's just funny at the same time.
But I mean, that's pretty much it for the game. Overall, the game was really good. You know, it was well done. They stayed true to Max Payne form. Just they really did a good combination of story with gameplay.
As well as the set piece moments were amazing.
Yeah,
like,
that's
a lot of those set piece moments were really cool. Like one of my favorites was you have that crane in that factory area, and you're getting lifted up, and you're like, you gotta take out the dudes.
One right at the beginning, like towards the beginning, the club scene where he pushes the guy out the glass, and he's out the glass, and slow motion shoot everyone. That is amazing.
Or the airplane terminal.
Oh my gosh.
The airplane terminal was nuts.
Like,
at the end.
They really learned, like they really made it a great way for you to pretty much use a cutscene with make it real, like the cinematic view, and like they really perfected.
That's the thing. I don't think a game has done it that well. Like maybe even better, than Uncharted 3. Really.
Well, there's one game that does it pretty well. That does it okay. That you'll see that we'll discuss later. That it surprisingly does it okay, and that's Ghost Recon, Future Soldier. So I'll discuss that later. But I'll discuss it in the next podcast. Yeah. But besides that, so far, as of this game, no, there hasn't been anyone that has done that that good. You know. But I mean, that's pretty much it for you know, Max Payne 3. I think I discussed the stuff that I liked, what I didn't like, and now I hope you guys were able to see my walkthrough for Max Payne 3. Oh wait, that's right. That's right. I completely forgot. That's what the next topic's about. The fact that I could not post a walkthrough for, you know, Max Payne 3. I mean, I could have. I could have done what everyone else did. You know, everyone else. You know, online, people tried it. Some people got content ID match. Some people got their page shut down because of it. And that's what brings up the topic that I have to say is Rockstar does not like when people put walkthroughs on YouTube. Now, they had some guidelines because someone asked a question about it. So then, before I go over that, so pretty much the exact topic is we're going to be discussing right now what each of us thinks about Rockstar's like ban of walkthroughs on YouTube. Okay. Now, I'm going to start off by saying there was a forum on the Max Payne 3 website itself where someone actually asked, "What's your, you know, what's your policy on walkthroughs?" And they actually answered. They pretty much gave a guidelines, right? They're saying, "Oh, you could do it." Like they had no problems with it, but this is where a big but part comes in. You can't really show cutscenes. You can't show anything, no ending to it. So I don't know about you. What walkthrough am I going to do where I'm not allowed to finish the game? Okay, so I can't show the end of the game, and I have to skip through every cutscene, and I have to be talking live through it, which we do already.
Yeah, we do already.
So that part's okay, but what about the other two parts?
Yeah, we'll be missing a very important part of the game.
Yeah, like, oh, sorry, YouTube, we're gonna stop here, and you're just gonna have to finish it in your head. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's the dumbest thing ever, and it makes no sense because they're afraid that people are not gonna buy the game if they see the game. Like, I don't understand. There's so many games that I've seen that
it made me want to buy the game.
Yeah, it made me want to buy the game even more. You know, you should be confident that your game is that good. Yeah. That if you see
and you know, the sucky part about it is too, like, there's some games, like, Catherine's a perfect example, where, like, the game, like, you can see it's, like, it has a good story, but maybe you don't like, I didn't like the puzzle sections. And I watched a whole entire walkthrough of that because I just wanted to see the story progress, you know what I mean? How it went. Whereas, like, some people might not play Max Payne 3 because it's difficult, you know, and they might want to see how the story ends or something like that. They won't have that chance because they don't even let them do that, you know. They don't let people put up walkthroughs for it. It's like I just don't get it. It's so inconsistent.
And the funny thing is, like, the reason why I didn't even take a chance is I thought about it for a second, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to take a chance because there's people that are getting flagged on YouTube for it, videos, and like, they're randomly flagging people. Some people get flagged, some people don't. Just like, you know how the whole content ID works on YouTube, which I already hate, we already dislike that, everyone dislikes that. But on top of it now, like, Rockstar is flagging people that there's some people that got flagged for talk about the Rockstar game.
Yeah.
You know, like, and you know, I'm sure they couldn't like dispute it, but my point is, Rockstar is flagging people left and right for showing footage, game footage, and I never like a company that completely restricts you from showing a walkthrough. It shouldn't matter, you know, unless someone's literally not, you know, not talking in it. They're just showing the footage by itself, showing it scene by scene, they're fine. But if you're talking about giving your input or showing someone how to do something, the reason why you're doing this is because, you know, pretty much you want to teach someone how to go through it.
And what I feel is, like, anytime you restrict anything like this, people are going to find ways to do it anyway. I mean, people are going to live stream it. I've already seen people play the whole entire game live stream, and I actually see walkthroughs where they had, you know, either they rename it or they put it under something else and people find it, you know?
Bald, what's the DSP from DSP Gaming did Bald Marky Mark. Like, Bald Marky Mark in slow motion. That's what it's called. Which, you know, Marky Mark or Mark Wahlberg was the person the actor that acted as Max Payne in the movie. So the Bald Marky Mark, it's pretty funny. But you know, he had to name it something else the first couple of days because Rockstar was on the lookout for all those people that are doing it, just to do it. You know, and the funny thing is, he's a Machinima partner. So you're talking about people that actually safe by Machinima stuff. You're not safe.
And it's bullshit too, because IGN has an entire full walkthrough for the game too. They didn't say nothing to them on their site. You know, it's like, if people want to find the walkthrough for a game, they're gonna find it. So I don't understand why they're gonna hurt the people who actually buy the game from putting the walkthrough in.
And the thing is, like, you make the person, you know, you make us have to really think about it. Is it worth doing the walkthrough for them to shut down our channel, you know? And it wasn't worth the risk, and that's why we didn't do it, which I was really upset about because I was all ready to go, you know. And I even had game footage. I still have game footage, and like, I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I might do like the highlights or the, you know, maybe top 5 good things about the game.
This is not no small title either. I mean, you know, this is a big game. You know, we would have got a lot of views from it. But it really sucks.
And what really sucks is knowing that it's gonna be the same thing when Grand Theft Auto 5 comes out.
We're not gonna be able to do Grand Theft Auto.
What are we gonna do with that? You know, like, and the funny thing with that is there's not any that if any game should be able to be walkthrough, it will be Grand Theft Auto 5 because there's no set way of doing it. Every game will be different because it's an open world. In open world, every setup is different. You know, you can teach people, oh, this is how you beat this mission, but then you could go to another mission. It's not even the main story. You can keep going different places before you get to the main story. But yet, I'm sure Rockstar is going to do the same thing and not let you record it. You know, put it on YouTube. Like they'll let you do it, but you have to get lucky because if you do get caught and you know you get flagged, you can't even dispute it because once you dispute it, they're going to claim it's theirs. So. It's one thing if you put content ID match and just put an ad in front of it, but they actually block videos. They're blocking videos, pulling out sound to the video, pulling out the picture and sound to the video, blocking it worldwide, blocking it in certain countries. Once you do that, YouTube gives you a flag for it.
And then first, you know, you can't upload past 15 minutes.
And it's
not worth it.
It's not worth it at all. So there's other companies that do the same thing. So we can't limit it just to Rockstar. But another big company, they hate when people put things up there. It's Nintendo. Like I'm talking about not third parties, if there is any third parties for Nintendo.
We'll see.
I'm talking about Nintendo itself. Like any of their stuff, like Mario or anything like that. You keep putting up stuff with them. Sometimes they will, you know, they'll match it. They'll do a third party match and put ads in front of it. And sometimes they'll block you. If it's like a brand new release, they'll block you. If it's an older games after a certain time, I think for Nintendo's like after 3 weeks or a month they don't care about it. But if it's a brand new release of a game that they're trying to sell, they're gonna block you. And I'm sure it's gonna be like that for the Wii U, which is the official name, by the way.
Yeah.
It really is Wii U now.
We know.
They changed the color, the symbol. That's what they worked on the last couple months.
I don't know.
Anyway, so I don't understand this. I mean, there's other companies that no matter what love the free advertising.
Yeah.
Like Capcom. Capcom loves it. Capcom occasionally sometimes uses third-party content ID matches, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all they do, they put an ad in front of it, you know? But a lot of the videos, they don't flag, you know?
Yeah.
It'll be 1 out of 20 or something like that, they'll flag or whatever, but they don't flag in a way that they shut us down. They just put an ad in front of it because they like the advertising. And literally, in front of that advertisement, if you ever look at it, it usually is a Capcom commercial for that exact game.
So I think Capcom is one of them that's smart. Blizzard's another one that's smart. They kind of know that their audience is, like, especially if it's a competitive game too. A lot of their audience is going to look, you know, for walkthroughs and how to play the game. That way they can get better at the game, and then, you know, that makes the game have a longer shelf life, because people, you know, if it has that type of depth, people are always looking ways to improve their strategy, and they're looking for a walkthrough for that exact reason. So it only benefits them. They put an ad on it, that's great, that's fine with me. They put an ad on it, and they get someone to still be interested in their game even after release, then it's a win-win for everyone. I don't see what the big issue is.
I say 80% of the people that look at our walkthroughs, about 80% of it is either interested in buying the game, or literally for that level trying to see how to beat a certain part of the game. So it's either someone that's sort of interested, but they're not too sure, they're on the fence, and they want to see what the game store looks like, or they actually want to see how to beat that certain level. Now, there's people that actually love comments, oh, thanks, man, I'm going to get this game tomorrow. There's someone for UFC, like, that's not even a big title game, but people weren't sure if it's good or not. They actually enjoyed the walkthrough. They actually said, oh, it's like, thanks for putting something. I'm actually going to get this next week. I can't wait for it. Do you think it's good? I'm like, yeah, I think it's good. I let them know my opinion about it. And that's the thing, you know, they might not got that sale. Like, that's only one person, but you know how many other people on YouTube do walkthroughs, and you know how many people look at them? You know how many sales you could get just because of that?
It's the best type of advertising. The thing I don't understand is, it's not like a movie or a song or something like that, where the actual, you know, thing that you're displaying, like, if you put a song on or you put a movie and someone watches it, that's the actual product that they're consuming. This is a video game. You actually have to play it. So just watching it is just, you know, you're just watching. You're not, you know, playing the game. It's completely different. That's what I really don't get.
And some people are like, you know, like Ghost Recon, when I played it, like, it's completely different. And some parts that look good, some parts that look horrible, and you think, oh, I could do better than that. You touch that controller, you see that it's not control the character.
It's interactive. That's the main thing. And plus, you know, a lot of the games, like, one walkthrough would be different from another person's walkthrough. So it's like, I just don't get it. It's not the same, you know, in terms of, if we're talking about copyright, right? That's the main issue.
Copyright is what they're, you know, the main issue for them is this. Like, to me, I never agree with a company like that to block a walkthrough. The reason why is because, to me, what you're telling me is that you're afraid that if people actually get to see the game, they're not going to buy your game. To me, that's what it's telling me. That you're afraid that your game is good enough to sell, even if someone saw what the game's like.
And that's the thing, it's fair use. I mean, we're giving our live reactions during the game. It's not like like you said, we're not just putting the game up to show you what it is. We're giving our reactions over it.
Like, you know? It's our opinion on it, and we're actually doing it straight through, live. Meaning the live, you see live reaction. We're not voicing over and editing later. No, we're doing it live, and you actually get to hear our voice, and you get to see how we react. And then at the end of it, we'll say, oh, you know, make sure you don't do that. Now you know the real way to do it, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. That's how we do it. That's our format. We're doing it live. We lose live, we win live. Everything is happening right there in front of you. And that's just the way it is. Now, I understand if there's like a small company, you know those, everyone's seen those trailers where they show no gameplay at all. Those trailers that you don't know what the game's gonna look like at all. Those are the people, to me, anytime you see like the game's about to be released and they didn't even show one trailer that actually has real game footage, that right there, you know that something's wrong with the game and they're hiding. And those games.
Yeah, but the other side of that too is though sometimes a game is so bad, if you watch a walkthrough, people actually want to play it because it's so bad. You've seen that before.
I've seen that too
right?
as well.
That's another side of it, right?
But I understand those companies being afraid. And those companies being afraid, oh, we don't want that content to be out there. Well, those people are the ones that are scared of what people are going to think. It's going to drop their sales because half their sales would be people are not even too sure. They're kind of like, oh, it sounds like
a perfect example of that is Deadly Premonition. I don't know if you ever heard of that game. It's like a janky like Resident Evil knockoff. It was like $20, but it did very well because a lot of footage people showed of it, like just how crazy this game was. Like they didn't know there was no like previews for it, no trailers or anything like that, and people watched the walkthroughs for the game. They're like, this is nuts. And a lot of people picked it up. They're like $20, so why not? You know, and I feel like a smaller game like that, you know, really benefits from something like walkthroughs.
Well, and I mean it does. Like it always helps. It can only help you out. I mean, I don't see how it's gonna bring it down. Someone, you know. And now if you talk about someone made like a clip that's just a cutscene. Now that's where I think you're wrong. Like that's where I think it's wrong. That if you stop a video and you start it right in the beginning of a cutscene and you end it right there, just to show people cutscenes. That to me.
Well, the funny thing about that is companies do it all the time. IGN have put up a video of all 4 acts of Diablo, the cutscene. They don't have no problem with that because they're IGN, right?
But it's the ending and stuff like that. And so they better not have a problem with IGN because IGN's what helps them with those freaking ratings. Oh, I'm going to throw a 10 your way even though you don't deserve a 10. So
they can put a full walkthrough of the game. They can do whatever the hell they want. Exactly.
I don't even want to get started with that issue because that's a whole other issue with the way people put scores down. They just throw scores on there. So, but anyway, my point is that Rockstars make a huge mistake that they're not allowing people to put up walkthroughs, even though they claim that they are. I heard people that followed the directions, but yet some of their videos got flagged. And if you guys know the YouTube system, YouTube Content ID matches wrong things at times, and sometimes, you know, I guarantee if you put a dispute in for Rockstar, they're not even going to get a chance to read it. Like an actual person not going to read it. All they're going to see is it's a Rockstar game. You put footage of a Rockstar game on there, boom, we won, you're wrong, I'm going to shut down your video. So,
and your account.
And the account, like, because they'll count as a strike, but if you do a false dispute, like, your account might be suspended for a certain amount of time too, so who knows? Like, that's the thing, like, it's too risky, it's too risky for me, we're not protected at all, you know, we don't have a gaming company, we're not a machinima, even though for Rockstar could bring down machinima partners too. So, I mean, it's not worth the risk. So I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for our podcast, episode 12.
So what we got upcoming in terms of the next podcast?
Well, next podcast we still gotta go over Ghost
Recon, Dragon's Dogma,
which you guys see walked out. I'm all done with Ghost Recon, Future Soldier. I sat down, played it 13 hours straight, you know. But 14 hours, you really do math stuff like that. But yeah, I mean that's it. You got your Dragon's Dogma, which you're currently doing.
Yep, we're currently doing that, and look for reviews for all those games coming up. And the most important thing, of course, what's coming up in June.
Oh well, we got E3 coming up, which is like the Super Bowl for nerds. just trying to throw it out there. It really is a Super Bowl for nerds. You know what I mean? We have a Nintendo versus every other system because supposedly this is Nintendo's year for E3.
So you're real excited to see Nintendo? I'm not.
I want to see what they have. You know what I mean? Because the last time Nintendo's year was. No, actually it wasn't Nintendo. It was Sega's year a long time. The last big one was when the Sega coming out with the Sega Saturn. And then Sony, like right after they walked on stage, Sega walked off, Sony comes up on stage and announces the price drop on the PlayStation, everyone went crazy, and there goes the Sega Saturn, and it disappeared. So that's what I'm trying to see, like what happens if Nintendo goes up there, announces, talks about Wii U, and then like Xbox or PlayStation comes up after and announces PlayStation 4 and Xbox 720 or whatever the hell they want to call it, like. Is it gonna just crush Nintendo's dreams? Like shit. Like it's like God damn it.
They better show some damn games.
No, they're going to. I know that. I think the best way for Nintendo to be successful, though, real quick before we end this video, is if Nintendo comes out with opening day, their first game that they come out with, and they come out with that Mario, the Super Mario Brothers World 2, whatever it's called, Part 2.
Yeah.
And if they come out with that in a release, and it hasn't been like that since Super Nintendo, where it was released with the Super Mario, or was it regular Nintendo?
No, it was released with
Super Nintendo.
Well, it was released with Nintendo before that, but they stopped that trend.
Yeah. So if the Super Nintendo, I think, is the last time that they did it. If they're able to do that this time, come out with that, I seriously think that would be a way to get people to buy it.
I also think
that's a best shot.
I also think their best shot too is third party.
Well, they have a whole list. I already saw a list of the lineup. They have a list of opening day, like the first month or so. They have a whole bunch of third party.
Well, that's the thing. It has to be concurrent with the release dates of PS3 and Xbox.
So. Well, they have Resident Evil. They have Resident Evil on board. So
and Assassin's Creed too.
So
it has to be day and day with those other releases.
Yeah, because Ubisoft is working hand in hand with them right now. So, they have the makings.
Yeah, and those releases have to have something specific to that controller. I saw a video on Randy Pitchford. He was talking about Aliens. He was saying it'd be cool, like if he had the little map from the Aliens game on that controller. Like beep 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 beep.
Yeah.
I think that'd be something pretty cool they can do.
There's stuff they can do with it, but that's a whole nother issue. We can discuss we'll
discuss more impressions at the E3
tablet. It's gonna cost like about $200 by itself to break it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I guess that's it. So definitely subscribe to our page. Like us on
Facebook.
See that? I tried to quiz you on that topic.
Follow us on Twitter. Like any of our videos and comment what do you think about the topic we discussed.
Yeah, definitely leave a comment below. Like, let us know what you think about Rockstar or any other company that that pretty much blocks or prevents people from doing walkthroughs on YouTube. Like, what do you think about that? I think we came right now. We're at a certain time right now where walkthroughs should be accepted, just like any other commentary. You're talking about a movie or anything else. You're commenting on a game. It should be the same thing.
Correct.
So, I guess that's it. So, this is Hector.
This is Drew.
And we're from Not2NerdyEnt. See you, YouTube.